This is Comic Picks by the Glick.
Hey, I'm your host, Jason Glick.
Hey, Jason, what do you got on tap for us today?
Well, today is something I've been waiting to talk about for pretty much most of this year because this is the year that Rick Remender and Wes Craig's series Deadly Class finally wrapped up. Now, longtime readers and listeners will know that I'm a fan of Remender, even if sometimes his work can be a bit more trying than entertaining. That's because dude loves to grind down his characters in service of his story in ways that feel more depressing than exhilarating. This is something that was particularly true of Black Science, also true of Seven to Eternity to a certain extent, and also like his series Low with Greg Tocchini, which I gave up after one volume because man, that shit was depressing. Deadly Class, however, has been unique over the course of its 12 volumes in the sense that, yes, he's totally still grinding down his characters here, but it's in a way that actually feels kind of fun, where where the character, where it's like, all this bad stuff that happens, feels more entertaining than depressive, where it's like, when just you think things have gotten as bad as they can for the characters, he throws them a shovel and tells them to keep digging. It's actually kind of fun. I think that the way that he writes things and the way that Craig illustrates things, they are really in perfect sync throughout the course of the series, and that certainly helps a lot to alleviate a lot of the potential depression. But as for what the series is about, I mean, if you're just joining us now for me talking about this series, well, it's basically about one kid, Marcus Arguello, son of Nicaraguan immigrants in the 80s who moved to America in search of a better life after the Sandinistas blew up their home, and only for Marcus's parents to die in a horrific freak accident where this suicidal former mental patient jumped from the Golden Gate Bridge and landed on both of his parents. Well, the thing is that this is mentioned in the comics as being a direct result of Reagan's cutting of mental health funds to mental health facilities in the 80s, and so that leads Marcus to have a specific death wish to kill Reagan. It's for what he's done to his parents. And while most of the time you think that, okay, well, this is a for the disturbing but otherwise unrealistic goal for a kid to have, he's actually going to get some help making this happen, because once he becomes a teenager, he eventually winds up coming under the the auspices of the King's Dominion Academy. Basically, it's a secret school for assassins. It's underneath San Francisco, and their leader, Master Lin, has heard about what Marcus has done, because after his parents were killed, he was sent to a foster home, and some bad shit went down there that apparently Marcus was reputed to maybe have killed everyone there. But and so it's basically part of this rep that allows him to get into this school for assassins, and it's going to teach him all he needs to know about killing whoever he wants, including good old Ronald Reagan. Now it's this series, it's basically a series about that takes all the teenage angst, and drama that you get from your standard high school series, and then just supercharges it with all sorts of guns, drugs, violence, and outsized assassin techniques. That gets at a lot of points in my book, because anyone who's ever seen Battle Royale, it's hey, it's all teenage drama is made much more interesting when you give the kids the means to which they can act on their ridiculous adolescent impulses. And Marcus is the main character here, and he's kind of presented as as an very emo, very dramatic kid who's always going on about his emotions and what they mean to him and what the world is like. Well, there's also other interesting characters as well, such as Maria. It's his first girlfriend and the daughter, the adopted scion of a Mexican drug cartel, who's sadly was killed by the head of said drug cartel. So she got her own drama to work through there. And then there's Saya, the aspiring head of the Yakuza clan, who is like so much better at being a Yakuza than her older brother Kenji, that she winds up getting marked for death because of it, and having to go to King's Dominion in order to accrue the necessary credibility to take over her clan. Then you got Willie, it's like Marcus's friend and like an essential and aspiring gangbanger, except for the fact that he's not actually like into that whole scene because he was actually like given the credit for like icing the people who killed his dad by his uncle. It's like and like these are the characters you meet at the initially. Oh, can't forget about Shabnam, the fat kid who's also Marcus's initial roommate, and he's just like your standard like fat nerd who just like who has all that fat nerd rage. It's gonna like cause him like try and take over like start running things from behind the scenes of King's Dominion and like take out all this fat nerd rage on everyone who's going there. Then there's Brandy, the racist scion of the Dixie mob, and Victor, like the KGB heir, like who's just very macho, very Russian, and also hiding his sexuality from anyone who who's curious enough to ask. So the first, like I said, the first year basically takes up the first 4 volumes, and it's a big mess of teenage angst combined with over the top action. Like one of the key plots of this year basically involves Marcus trying to get back the body of Maria's Maria's stepbrother, who tried to kill her because she was coming onto Marcus, then wound up getting killed by Marcus's old foster home roommate, who goes by his real name is Chester. His nickname is much more descriptive, Fuckface. And he basically kills this guy Chico, takes the body, and they've got to find a way to get it back, and it leads into a crazy ass action scene as they break into this rundown tenement and have to deal with all the all the traps that have been set for them. It's like one of the things that the series does really well is portray how Remender's writing and Craig's art were perfectly in sync, because you've got Remender just spotting off his hard-bitten poetry about how things are going out of control, and it meshes perfectly with how Craig portrays the action sequences. They have a great amount of momentum and intensity to them, while the attack on Fuckface's tenement is a great example of this. There's also an indelible scene earlier in volume 2 where it basically involves Marcus waking up from a night of misguided sex with Saya, grabbing a burrito on his way to run down to his comic shop where he works, and then facing the consequences of eating said burrito in the meantime, which is one of the most nightmarishly diarrhea-fueled scenes I've read in comics. It is insane to see how this scene works together. It just feels like something that was plucked straight out of a nightmare. And if you're willing to wonder about how where Remender got something like this from, well, he's described Deadly Class as a semi-autobiographical work, which means that the stuff from King's Dominion is probably made up to a certain extent, but him having a diarrhea-fueled episode as he woke up late after having sex one night with his with a girl he cheated on, that might actually be true. So make of it what you will. But we'll come back to how autobiographical this is, because for the first 9 volumes, it's basically just the drama at King's Dominion as Marcus tries to make it through the classes, make it through the kids and other cliques who want him dead, especially at the end of the first year when the freshmen are just basically called to kill the rats. All the people who are not regarded as proper assassins or proper members of King's Dominion. Well, their job is basically to survive. Everyone else in Kings in freshman year. It's their job to kill them. And this works really well for the climax of the first volume, volume 4, up until the point where it looks like, oh my god, did he just kill Marcus? Is Marcus dead? That's such a baller move. Oh, wait a second. Remender already tried doing this, killing off the protagonist back in Black Science Volume 1, but he didn't do that. Oh, so there you go. It's like, so much as Deadly Science Deadly Class tries to buck convention at certain points. Anyone familiar with Remender's work knows that he's not going to do anything really genre busting, or really it's morally outrageous as well, because all these kids are killers and are being trained in the act of killing, but the ultimate goal here is for them to basically reject what the systems that the generations before them have established, and for them to fight their own way, which basically means that no, we're not going to kill the people who need killing. We're going to walk away from this vengeance, from this need for vengeance. It's and try to live our own lives on our own terms. And I'm getting ahead of myself here because second year does bring up some more interesting characters, specifically Helmut, the German metalhead who's also got a fierce love for Dungeons and Dragons. Toshawi, the Native American skate rat, and Zenzele, the son of African human traffickers, who is outwardly devoutly Christian and is inwardly hiding deep, trying to avoid the satanic urges that try to convince her to do bad things. The second year, there is even more chaos as as Saya tries to manage these new freshman people, and even tries to make nice with them at certain points, going on with Helmut's D&D campaign, even after he farts on her in the elevator, which is another scene that had to have been ripped from Remender's memory, just in the way it's so specifically detailed, even as it sticks to the logic of King's Dominion. But it's just it's just amazing to see the commitment they have to pulling off a bit like that. And even as the series goes off in other directions, as they try and find out what happened to Marcus and Maria after they disappeared at the end of freshman year, and then we get a big old slasher movie moment at the end, towards the end of volume 9. It's there's the series does delivers action, drama, suspense, comedy really, really well. And even though it's it kind of fluctuates as to overall quality of it, I was still enjoyed it all the way up until the end of volume 9. Well, that's because, starting with volume 10, that's basically the point at which you feel that Remender and Craig basically looked at where they were in the series and decided, okay, it's time to call it quits, because volumes 10, 11, and 12, even though volume 10 it doesn't have isn't part of the proper naming of the series. It's still, let's see, what was volume 10 called? Oh yeah, Save Your Generation. And volumes 11 and 12 were called Fond Farewell Parts 1 and 2. They're all one big storyline. And it's also one in which it leaves where the reality of King's Dominion is left behind, because for reasons that I won't go into because of spoilers, Marcus and friends, quote unquote, graduate from that school and then go back into the real world. And it's and Save Your Generation and Fond Farewell Parts 1 and 2 basically show you how that transition works. Because now Marcus is trying to carve out a life for him. I mean, yeah, he's still kind of dealing with the fallout from from the events of like growing up in King's Dominion. But now that he's left this life behind, he has to like deal with mundane things like actually working for a living, like dealing with his boss who can't understand nuance, and also working with his girlfriend who is now dealing with like a bad case of rheumatoid arthritis. Basically, Savior Generation marks a transition from the fantasy of growing up in an assassin school where you're gonna your goal is to kill Ronald Reagan into the the mundanity of real world living. So basically, it kind of tells us that what we've been reading up to this point has basically been a metaphor. Like King's Dominion, like the time there has basically been representation of how awesome things were for you back in high school. How you had such potential when you believed that you could do anything and you had the ambition to do it, to do it all. And then as you slowly move into adulthood, you start losing that stuff, and you start realizing that, okay, this is what my life is actually going to be like, and now I've got to just make the best of it while relying on the skills that I acquired while living for a school of assassins and all. Because it's like the series doesn't completely drop that whole school of assassins business, but it does basically move into a a more mundane sense of reality. And this would be depressing. It would be disappointing if I didn't think that Remender and Craig actually delivered this kind of transition as best as could be hoped for. I mean, they still haven't lost a step in terms of their synchronicity in terms of writing and art. And also, I do want to acknowledge that, yeah, it's Remender does have write his characters a certain amount of verbosity. Basically, these are very, very precocious, very well-spoken kids, and some of the stuff I realize might seem pretentious and might drive readers nuts who look at this and go, man, it's kids didn't speak like this. If they did, they're annoying as hell. But I still feel that it's even as occasionally pretentious as this stuff can get, it's still pretty entertaining, and it also does hit home for me more often than not. I mean, listening to Helmut talk to Goth Girl Petra when she tells him that no, MTV is never going to come for the goths. This stuff is too personal, too singular for them to appropriate. And Helmut's yeah, it's they will definitely come for you the same way they came for my metal. It's and God knows, and we all know that they did. So yeah, hindsight's 2020, but I like the way that it's played out here. And also the relationship between Helmut and Petra is pretty sweet, is as sweet as it is ultimately tragic. But yeah, this final storyline, basically just it's shows you the transition of rushing from your young adult years into adulthood. And I think that it handles that pretty well, especially when we get to the final volume, Fond Farewell Part 2. So as far as this goes, well, basically it shows us the final fates of Helmut. It's of Saya. It's and also just what happened to Marcus and Maria. It's after Marcus became a writer. It's and decided to make a living doing that, and all the compromises he had to make in order to he's having to make in order to get his his book series about an alcoholic space bounty hunter. It's into being a TV series and possibly a movie as well. It's not hard to feel that Remender is definitely writing out his own life issues here, because at the point the series is being written, the TV adaptation of Deadly Class had already come and gone, one season on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's and he's just dealing with the difficulties, the highs, the lows, and also just having Marcus it's talk about how punk rock it is to own a own a proper family car, which yeah, it's kind of the ultimate humiliation. But at the same time, though, his old nemesis, Shabnam and Brandy, are still like keeping an eye out for him because they've ascended into like the political realm, and they're just trying their best to like mold things to their end. I mean, basically, our current political situation is down to them, those dicks. But as much as I was fearing that things are going to like end badly for Marcus and Maria, especially in light of Remender's endings for his previous series, I gotta admit it's like I did enjoy how things wrapped up in here. And yeah, it's like maybe it's a bit too optimistic, but at the same time, like the logic he writes through it, actually feels pretty believable. And it's like I kind of appreciate this rather than the meaningful ending he describes in the course of the series. And I mean, I did like the final scene, which basically has him and his friends just trying to like find a way to scam as many birthday dinners as they can from Denny's, while also just hanging out one last time. Like it's overall, I mean, it's entertaining. And even if like I said, there's parts of this can be pretentious, parts of it that might defy logic and come off as too ridiculous, but overall it's like I do think that this is probably the most entertaining series that I've read from Remender. It's like, and that's also, and God knows that that Craig deserves a lot of credit there for providing always entertaining, always imaginative art that like perfectly synced up with what the man was writing. So yeah, it's like if you're going to read one Rick Remender series, I mean, yeah, this is 12 volumes, 56 issues. It's certainly longer than something like say Seven to Eternity, and it's also like a much more consistent, but it's much more consistent than something like say Black Science. It's like and it's also designed like isn't as overwhelmingly moralistic as say Tokyo Ghost, and it's also got more substance like to its action scenes than say like Death or Glory. So yeah, if you want to see what why this guy's out, right, why I keep reading Rick Remender stuff, this is like a pretty good example for it. And I'd recommend it. Just it's like as long as your idea of a good time involves seeing teenagers it's like murder each other with like guns, drugs, words, and it's like and love, then yeah, it's like go ahead and check this out. It's currently available in 12 volumes and several hardcover volumes, which I can't be bothered to check right now. So yeah.
Oh, sounds pretty good. Cool. Where did you buy it?
Well, it's like, as is the case with most graphic novels, these, like, I got most of these either came through Amazon, or in more recent years, mostly through cheapgraphicnovels.com. Oh, I will say that I got the final volume though through Amazon because I needed it, because I wanted to do the do the podcast on it right now. So there you go.
Okay, cool. So, awesome. Do you know what you're going to be talking about next time?
Well, I was thinking about doing my thoughts on like Dan Slott's Fantastic Four run, but then I also noticed that hey, it's been a while since we've done any manga. Oh, and the final volume of Inside Mari is out right now, and I'll also be needing to order that through Amazon if I want to do it for then. So, like I said, it's probably going to be Inside Mari, but Slott's Fantastic Four is on tap for the near future.
All right. Okay. Well, sounds good. And we'll catch you next time on Comic Picks by the Glick.
Later, everyone.